She sat in the front row, my little girl, 6 years old, her red bow tilted over one ear, her teeth crooked but her smile unstoppable. She kept waving at me while the photographer adjusted the lights. The next week, the Christmas cards arrived. My mother handed me a glossy stack, proud as always. "They turned out perfect," she said. Perfect. I opened the envelope. My daughter wasn't there. Not in one single card. They had photoshopped her out, cut her from the family like she was an accident. She saw it before I could hide it. Her smile dropped. Her tiny hands trembled as she asked, "Mommy, what did I do wrong?" Then she burst into tears, shaking so hard I had to hold her steady. That was the moment my revenge began. It wasn't always like this. My mother wasn't always cruel. Or maybe she was, and I was too desperate to notice. I spent years trying to be her perfect daughter, the one who studied hard, who never fought back. When I had my daughter, I thought maybe things would change. I thought a grandchild would melt her edges. For a while, I believed it worked. She baked cookies with her, bought her dresses, pretended love. But slowly, I noticed the subtle cuts. The comments about her being too loud. The way she positioned her farther and farther away in family pictures. Little things. Easy to dismiss until the cards. That was no mistake. That was a message. I didn't scream. I didn't argue. I kissed my daughter's forehead and told her she was perfect. Then I smiled to myself, because I knew exactly what I'd do. I started with the gifts. My mother was obsessed with appearances. Nothing cheap, nothing practical, only things that made her look superior. So, I bought her something carefully chosen, perfectly wrapped, something she couldn't open in front of everyone without her world cracking open. But a single gift wasn't enough. Revenge isn't about one strike. It's about erosion, silent, steady, undeniable. I pulled out photo albums, decades of family history. Page by page, I removed her. Scissors slicing her from weddings, graduations, vacations. My daughter helped, carefully peeling, gently placing the cutouts in a show box. Together, we built an alternate history, one where she never existed. Next, the video reels. I digitized the tapes, cut her out, blurred her face, muted her voice. Hours of footage erased with a click. By the time Christmas morning came, I was ready. We gathered in the living room. My daughter sat by the tree, her cheeks glowing with excitement. My mother took her usual throne on the couch, waiting for her perfect family to adore her. I handed her the box, gold ribbon, polished edges, flawless presentation. She smiled, savoring the attention as she pulled the bow. The paper fell away. She opened the lid and went pale. Inside was a leather-bound album, heavy, expensive, elegant. She flipped it open. The first page showed our family at the beach, but she was gone. Only sand where she once stood. She turned another page, Christmas morning from years ago. Her absence screamed louder than her presence ever had. Page after page, moment after moment, all rewritten. Her hands trembled. "What is this?" she whispered. I leaned forward, my voice low, calm. "It's the family history. The real one. The one where you never mattered." Her eyes darted around the room, but no one moved. My brothers looked away. My father swallowed hard. The silence pressed against her chest. She flipped faster, frantic, searching for herself, but there was nothing. I had carved her out clean, as if she never belonged. Her face drained, her lips pressed thin. She wanted to scream, but she couldn't. Not with the whole family watching. Not with my daughter staring at her wide-eyed, waiting for her to explain why she had vanished the same way my daughter once had. She closed the book, hands shaking. "Why would you do this?" she finally hissed. I smiled. "Because now you know how it feels." The rest of the day, she didn't speak. She didn't command, didn't scold, didn't pretend. She sat like a shadow in her own home, erased before she was gone that night. As I tucked my daughter into bed, she whispered, "Grandma looked sad." I brushed her hair back and kissed her forehead. Sometimes people need to feel sad so they don't hurt others anymore. I don't regret it. Revenge isn't about destroying someone in one blow. It's about teaching them what they taught you so they can't pretend ignorance. My mother tried to erase my daughter's existence. She wanted her invisible, unworthy, disposable. Now she knows exactly what that feels like. She'll never look at a family photo again without remembering that album. She'll never hold a memory without wondering if it's already been cut, already erased. And me, I sleep well. Because justice, in its purest form, doesn't come from screaming or fighting. It comes from silence. From precision. From letting the world rearrange itself until the person who hurt you finally disappears.